Not manning my post correctly, but I will get this thing started. It is time for the Suterman Show on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Brought to you by Deary Brothers Ford, Hawkeye Title and Settlement, Mike's E-Keys for cars, Supple's Building and Remodeling, also 800 Rose. Let's see who else. The Midtown Family Restaurants, Harty and Stocker Jewelers, the Sanctuary Pub, Premier Automotive, the Oxyoke Inn, Streets Maintenance, the Wild Rose Casino in Clinton, and Dr. Lance Forbes at Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. Better late than never for the theme song. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Suter and Pat Harty.
I was going to say, typically don't we do the theme song first?
Well,
and then...
I'd forgotten to pull it up. I'm wiped out, man. What do you want from me? I've been working.
Well, it's a long week.
I've been working a lot of days.
You have.
So
it's been a long week.
Yes, it has. But we are here. It's Saturday. It's a beautiful day. Perfect, crisp fall day for the homecoming game. So here we go.
Homecoming parade last night.
Yeah, how was that?
Well, we were in Joe's. And then went to Polly Eyes. Since we're downtown.
Excellent.
And let me tell you, the time to go to Polly Eyes is during the homecoming parade.
I would imagine so, because afterwards, I bet it was
packed. My God, it was crazy busy.
Yeah.
But we were able to walk right in.
I haven't had one of their pizzas in a while.
Oh, it's good.
When I moved here and lived on Summit Street and would drive from the Press Citizen Home, I'd get a Polly Eyes twice a week.
Yeah. No, it's good.
I got to know the people working there.
Yeah, they caught a little news stuff because there's a for sale sign outside of their building. Yeah. But they're not moving. Their lease is still good for, another 5 years or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, so they have got no plans of moving or anything like that. But
they've moved before.
There's 16 apartments above, and then there's a laundromania next door.
Yeah.
I think that's...
When did they move before?
They used to be downtown.
Long time ago.
Yes, long time ago.
Because since I've been here.
I think it was called Pizza Palace only.
Okay, since I've been here in '91, they've been in the same place.
Yeah, it was 70s. 60s, 70s.
Good pizza.
Oh, yeah.
It's real good. Yeah,
it is.
It'd be easily in my top 5 here in town.
I will say that there is a lot of real good pizza in this.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
That's probably true of most college towns, eh?
I would imagine so, yeah.
No.
Well, and when they do the Northside concerts up there on Saturday nights, I always like to get a Polly Eyes.
Hell, I got a good pizza from Pizza Hut a while back. They had a $10.99 large 3-topping special.
Who did?
I did. I ordered, and when I heard it was good.
Where was this?
Pizza Hut, $10.99 large. I got 3 meals out of the thing, and it was better the next day when I put it in my toaster oven and got it all crispy.
Crispy.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was hand tossed, and I'm not a big hand. They couldn't do the thin crust in the and I thought that's kind of weird because you'd think that would be less.
That'd be easier.
But they say the crusts are ordered different. They're all different and what have you. So, but no, it was okay. I mean, do I like Pizza Hut as much as Sam's? No. Do I like it as much as the Sanctuary or Palais? No. But it's okay. I like Pizza Hut more than Domino's.
Oh, yeah.
Although Domino's is better than it used to be, and they have lots of different crusts and stuff.
Well, there's one thing Domino's has, this new pepperoni inside the cheese bread, garlic bread. I'm going to try that. It looks good.
That sounds good.
It looks good in the commercial.
And I hear their wings are real good.
They are. They're all right. They're not. I love Pizza Hut's wings.
Yeah.
I only had them once. I was, I guess, a little disappointed.
I love pizza. I don't know what it is about Pizza Hut. When they're big, and I just love the sauce. It's pretty hot, too.
Well, I will say that the combination of wings and pizza is not a great combination.
Really?
Because the wings are too...
Yeah, I could see that.
They're too strong.
I don't normally do them together that much. Well, plus marinara is different than wing sauce.
It is.
Yeah.
So unless you eat the pizza first, the wings completely overwhelm the pizza taste.
Yep. And Domino's has definitely improved over the years. It used to be... not the greatest, but it's a lot better now.
See, I think I liked it more back in the 80s in college than I do now. I don't know how much it's changed. No, I haven't had it much recently. I don't know, like I said.
Well, when were you ordering Domino's pizza in college? When you were
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was by far the most. That and Paul Revere's were the 2 go-to pizza places when I was in college at Drake. And Paul Revere's back then was really good. I loved it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep, like you said, there's lots of good pizza. My kids are having Harris tonight in Davenport.
Harris pizza is delicious.
Yeah. So hopefully there'll be some leftovers for me.
And are they the ones that do Mama Basso's frozen pizzas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if that's any indication, then yeah, it's good because Like I said, that's by far the best frozen pizza I've ever had. Not even close.
Does it taste kind of the same as their regular pizza? Or not?
It's close, but I mean, there's nothing better than a fresh pizza.
But Mama Bosso's frozen pizza is about. I mean,
yeah,
and I am not a frozen pizza fan. Tombstone, Freschetta, all that crap.
I lived on Tombstone's.
I ate my share back when I had no money and there was no other options. But there was a while, I'm old enough to remember when Tombstone and Tostino were about it.
Yeah.
The frozen pizza.
You can get those Totinos for, 99 cents?
Then all of a sudden, then Jack's came out in the 80s. And
Totino's had those holes in the bottom of the crust.
Yes, and red pepper on them always.
But to me, most of those things taste like cardboard.
They weren't very good.
No, Mama Basso, man, those things are good.
They weren't very good. They're $1, and and they tasted like it.
Yeah,
and I ate them.
Yeah, but it was something to sustain you.
Yep.
And Mama Basso's, they're not $1, but it's not overly expensive. And you order one of their normal size, you'll be full. I mean, 2 people could eat on that. And for frozen pizza, it's good.
Well, and I like how they try to do the deep dish, like from Gino's East in Chicago or Home Run Inn Pizza.
I've done that.
You can't replicate.
You can't.
That.
No, you just can't. It's just impossible.
And I've tried to make a deep dish pizza, and it's failure from word one. It's impossible.
I'm not a huge.
I'm not either.
It's just too much.
No.
The Gino's East.
I've had Gino's East. Don't get me wrong. That first piece, I love it. But then piece 2, I'm like, God, I'm shipping away at this mountain. Just too much cheese and crust for me.
Well, you can get through maybe a piece and a half.
Yeah, they put red wine in the crust or something like that. I mean, it's got a really interesting flavor.
Have you had flying tomato from?
Yeah, I did not.
I like it, but
they're okay.
I have to get it and then cook it more because lots of times it's just not. It's just too much goo.
I know a lot of people love it, but it doesn't work for me. And I like their regular pizza. I think it's great.
Well, I like both their pizzas, and I like flying tomato, but it's got to be cooked. So I'll take it home and brown. But man, I haven't had Wigan Pen in ages. Now that I think about it.
Well, it's so close to me. I mean,
but they don't deliver anymore. You can just walk up there if you want to.
I could. I don't.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit further. So because they don't do when they used to do delivery, I'd get it. Some they don't do delivery. At least the one on the east side, I don't believe does delivery anymore. The times I've called them the last couple days, we're not delivering tonight, so I just kind of gave up.
Well, both the Vine and Wigan Pen are remodeling on the Strip.
Yeah,
they're adding indoor-outdoor seating. Is that what it looks like to you?
The Vine, that's what it looks like at the Vine.
Yeah.
I thought the Vine already had outdoor seating.
Yeah, but
they're kind of semi-enclosing it.
Yeah, because it's. In the summertime, it's beastly hot out there. I've sat out there. It's not good.
Yeah, but I don't know how you think enclosing it a little bit is going to make
I think
it'll block the sun a little bit. Oh, I mean, you mean they're going to enclose the whole thing?
Well, I don't know.
Because you can't have air conditioning with partially enclosed.
I thought they were going to screen it in, but it looks like they are closing it in.
Well, that's different. Okay, then you can have air conditioning. But then you're not sitting outside.
No.
So that's the
who wants to sit outside in 99, 100-degree weather?
That's not good.
Never really understood that.
My wife does, and loves 90-degree weather.
Oh God! I mean, I don't mind it, but when it's humid, I'm not going to bask in it.
I like being outside though, just because they're
so
so
long
that
I love being outside.
You can't be outside.
I just don't like being outside.
No, I don't like going somewhere to eat and sitting outside. In your nice.
No, I don't. I'm not a big outside eater. I never have been.
Yeah. Hello.
Back in the 80s, there was nothing better than a Felix and Oscar's.
I remember those. They were good.
Sausage pizza.
They were good.
I've never had one.
You've never heard of Felix and Oscar's?
I've heard of it.
They were huge in Des Moines. Yeah. Were they big here?
I think there was one in Iowa City one time.
But they were huge in Des Moines. That was one of the first pizzas I ate outside of Pizza Hut.
Yeah, there was one in Merle Hay, and where was the other one, on University?
Yep, on University. Remember Godfather's was big on 42nd Street there.
Oh, I love Godfather's.
They had really good pizza, too. I don't know if it's still there, but yeah, Felix.
Oh, their pizza buffet was...
Hey, do you remember, are you from Des Moines?
I am, yeah.
You remember Mustard's Last Stand?
Mm-hmm.
One of the first good barbecue joints I went to. Where did you grow up in Des Moines?
North Side, North High.
Okay, my mom went to North High. I grew up in Beaverdale.
Yeah.
I grew up in Beaverdale, so yeah, I know right off of Lower Beaver Drive there. So yeah, it's a small world, ain't it?
Tis.
Yeah. My grandparents lived on 43rd Street, not far from where you grew up.
Okay, and my mom grew up on Columbia Drive, right off of Euclid.
Oh yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about
it. Good.
There you go.
You're listening
thanks
to
for reminding
Metro Talk.
Thanks for reminding me though about Felix and Oscar's. That's part of my past.
Yeah, they used to deliver too in those little Felix and Oscar's.
They did. They did before a lot of people delivered. Yeah, I would not have remembered Felix and Oscar's.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
There we go.
Thanks.
No, they were one of the first deep dishes I ever had before I went to Chicago and tried the Geno's.
Sure.
What's the other one? Gorzi. There's another one in Chicago. That Giordano's.
Yeah, Giordano's.
That's the other one.
Pizza Uno's another one.
Yeah,
I've had Pizza Uno.
They've got frozen ones up.
We were in Chicago a number of years ago when Iowa was playing at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
And we were at a place called the Exchequer, which is owned by
I think I've been there.
former Hawkeyes. Okay, the people that graduated from Iowa. Great pizza. So a couple of our friends, they ordered a large deep dish. And I said, do you guys know what you're getting into there? They said, we're no problem. We're so hungry. You know, they ate maybe a piece and a half. They were eating on that thing for 4 days.
And the thing is, though, after a while, though, when you order pizza gets old after a while, like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it gets.
I mean, it's sometimes, but yeah, I mean, I've seen deep dishes knock people out. They just think they're going to conquer it, and they're not.
Because you're so hungry. No, you don't have a chance.
And you also, when you're hungry, you eat that first piece so fast,
Yep.
and then your system's being like, "Hey, wait a second, I didn't agree to this deal."
You know,
Well, we screwed up the first time we went to Geno's. We ordered salad and Italian bread appetizers. So we were full and then this big ass pizza comes. We're like, holy crap! Thank God they have boxes you can take it home in, because we like you said, you eat on it for like 3 days.
We tried Jethro's here the other day. We've eaten at the one in
Yeah,
Altoona.
I've been to the one in Altoona once,
and the one in one of the ones in Des Moines.
and I got their barbecue sauce once, and the barbecue sauce was okay.
It was okay. The brisket, it was a little too fatty. The waffle fries were good, but there was a table of 3 guys, and a couple of them were plus size. Oh my God! They had like 5 dozen wings, a huge plate of nachos,
Wow.
a gigantic salad.
I love the salad with that part. What, diet drinks?
And Mountain Dew.
It could have been diet.
It could have been.
This is Mountain Dew Zero sugar. It's not bad.
It's pretty good.
I like it better than Diet Mountain Dew.
Well, the Coke Zero's pretty good.
Yeah, this Mountain Dew Zero is not bad.
But I mean, the amount of food on that table was just astounding. And they
did they
didn't eat it. They took a few wings home.
Okay.
But
I've never had Jethro's wings. Did they look like normal buffalo wings?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, I imagine they're good. I mean,
I make good buffalo wings at home, and what I do at home is I bake them, and then they're not bad for you. I mean, baked buffalo wings are really a huge difference in eating those as opposed to frying them. They're actually not a bad, because wing sauce has no fat.
wings are getting kind of expensive.
Oh, they're
all
really
the chicken
expensive.
is,
They're
yeah.
a buck. Some places they're $1.25 a piece.
Well, they're $1.80 a piece at Jethro's.
Well, that's really expensive. Because didn't you say you went somewhere and there was 16 for a dozen?
Yeah.
That's like what, $1.10, $1.15.
Yeah.
I think anything over a buck's
Buck and
pretty
a quarter.
expensive.
I mean, they're delicious, but
Well, at that price, they should be. But again, I go back to Florida, 10-cent wings, but that was also 36 years ago.
Right.
When I lived in Florida.
Yeah.
first time we tasted wings, the band had just broken up, and we were at the Vine, the one on Prentice Street. We were with Billy and his wife Lisa. And Billy said, "You got to try these wings." And we said, "Really?"
So what year is this?
90.
So you didn't try wings in the 80s? Really?
Uh-uh.
Wow, okay.
No.
Because they were a staple for us.
No, we
in
were on the
college.
road at that time, and
They weren't as popular back then, but
No.
I just had a buddy of mine. I got to know a friend who loved wings. He also had a buddy from Pennsylvania that was at our college, Drake, who absolutely loved wings, and they were big back there. And he's the one who got us. I mean, we used to go get chicken wings all the time, like at drink specials and what have you. And God, I've always loved them. So the first time did you like them at first?
loved them. But Billy said, "Now they're small, so you have to get 3 dozen." So I said, "Okay."
Well, wings used to be a lot smaller.
And I got 3 dozen and knocked them back, and
You ate 36 wings?
I sure did, and they were delicious. And got 2 dozen, and
Did Ann eat 24?
I can't remember, but I can't. She hasn't ordered wings since. I don't think.
We have a phone. We have a phone call. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I hate to take you guys away from your food. But anyway, do you think there's going to be a lot of passing today?
There'll be some. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably be 40, 60. I don't know.
Yeah,
there'll be definitely some.
Does Purdue pass a lot, or do they run?
Both.
Both of those. And their quarterback's a good runner.
A very good runner.
Well, what about our quarterback? Do we know if he can run?
No, we don't know. Well, I mean, he can run some, but
he can do quarterback sneaks.
He can't run he's not like Hudson Card.
No.
Well, he's a biggie.
He's a big fella, yeah.
So I'm hoping that when people run into him, they bounce off.
That would be nice.
You don't want a lot of that happening, though.
No, he's not a fleet of foot.
He's Nate Stanley. Maybe a little more, maybe a little more elusive, whatever. But you don't want Deacon Hill running the ball and bouncing off defenders. That's not the way to handle this situation. Because then, before you know it, you're going to be down to your third-string quarterback.
Yeah,
if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's true. And you can just twist your foot by running too.
Yep. Well, but you also don't want to be overly paranoid and cautious either. You got to play, but still. Just be wide. I don't think they're going to be doing a bunch of RPOs with Deacon Hill.
I would think not. No.
What do you think the score is going to end up being?
I have Iowa 23-21. Last 59-yard field goal by Drew Stevens as time expires.
Into the wind?
Into the wind. And then afterwards he says that he thinks any field goal beyond 55 yards should be worth 5 points. Because that's 20. And if he had
I read your...
And then it was kind of a veiled shot at the Brian Ferentz performance incentives.
Well, that may be exciting for some people, but for us, rest of us, that's heart attack.
That's this team. Ferentz ball in general is not for the faint of heart.
Not normally, no.
And do you think it's going to be, weather's going to be pretty good? Because yesterday at the field hockey, we had to wear our winter coats. It was cold.
It was cold yesterday. It's better today.
It's not going to be as windy.
It already feels better right now than it did.
Well, and the sun had gone down, so it wasn't sunny. Yeah. And then you had that wind.
I had fun at Steve Anderson's annual, what do you call that?
Froze my
butt. I
froze my ass off, but I was the only one there in shorts. I mean, I froze my ass off.
It was cold yesterday.
Well, yeah, Carn, you were out in the tundra out there. There was nothing, no windbreak or anything.
I know. And everybody there said, well, you're smart. You wore your coat. I said, hey, I'm used to cold baseball games. I know what to wear.
There you go.
This ain't Carn's first rodeo.
Yeah. Well, I've been to rodeos, too, but I didn't ride any bull or horse.
You were just a spectator?
I just threw the bull and the horse.
And what, at field hockey, they lost 2-1 or 3-1?
2-0.
Oh, 2-0?
They lost 2-0. They have two good players out, and I think that's hurt them.
It probably didn't help. But they also were playing a team that's really good.
Real good.
Yeah, Northwestern is good.
They were ranked second, I think.
And they both played very hard. It was the Northwestern got theirs on corner penalties. So
okay.
Well, field hockey is a nonstop movement. I mean, it's amazing to watch.
Like
you're all over the place.
It's just like soccer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okie doke, guys. Well, let's get a victory.
Please.
Yeah, okay.
Please.
Bye.
Bye.
So, did you watch Nebraska Illinois last night?
Yeah,
I did
most
too.
of it got boring.
I watched 3 quarters.
I got boring. Illinois is just they're
just awful.
What's amazing though is Illinois. We're sitting there watching how awful they are, and yet their yards are just so. Well,
he had
over 300 yards passing, and yet they're awful. And then we're saying this. Illinois can't run the ball.
It's funny. I sat there. What did they have, like 25 yards?
23, maybe? The last graphic they put up on the board. I don't know what they finished with.
But, yeah, I was thinking to myself, this Illinois team is painful to watch, and they are rolling up yards compared to Iowa.
Yes. Nebraska's not horrible.
No, they're not, and that game should have been 45-7.
Yes, I mean, God, what did they fumble twice?
So 3 times.
3 times, yeah. They just gave the ball. There was almost like they were saying, "Hey, Illinois, let's have a close game, so more viewers will keep watching." But Nebraska was clearly the better team.
No, their defense actually looked pretty decent.
Yeah, they're 3-3 now. Did you see the next few games they play? I mean,
I haven't, but I will. Let's see. Well, they had a bye next week, so they heal up. And Northwestern and Purdue at home. They'll win those.
At least I think they'll at least split.
Yeah.
So then they're 4-4. I mean,
then at Michigan State, that'll be winnable.
I think that's winnable.
Maryland at home, possible.
Winnable, but a little obviously tougher. Well, we'll see what's happened to Maryland by then too. Maryland's one of those teams when they lose, like if they get boat raced against Ohio State today. Sometimes Maryland doesn't handle stuff like that very well. I'm still not ready to say that this team's above being inconsistent like Maryland sometimes is.
Well, and they've started their season strong
against bad competition.
Yes,
mostly.
And then when they get up against the big three in the East,
they
can't measure up.
They beat up on all the mediocre to bad teams, but and then when they get up against teams that fight back, they don't handle it as well.
And then Nebraska finishes at Wisconsin.
My guess is they'll lose that.
I would think. And then at Iowa, and who knows?
No, at home against Iowa.
They're home against Iowa.
And they beat Iowa here last year. So, I mean, no, they've got to – if you're a Nebraska fan right now, you're looking – we got a chance for a winning season.
Yeah, they look better.
Oh, they do look better. I think that quarterback's given them some stability because he doesn't turn the ball over. But I was more impressed with their front –
He's a big dude, too.
I was more impressed with his name is Heinrich Harburg. Heinrich Harburg. But I was impressed with their front seven on defense, too. It was okay. Now, granted, Illinois, Brett's got problems. I mean, they just
he does.
But now, and they did have, at least one or two running backs out. But still, there's just something missing there.
Well, and Nebraska lost a couple running backs, too. I mean, Grant came back in.
Grant fumbled. He fumbled. Or no, it wasn't Grant. It was the other guy who fumbled, I think, twice.
Number 21?
One time they said it was Grant when it wasn't Grant, I believe. Grant's had fumble problems, though. I mean, he's had some fumbling issues, but they had most of their guys going last night, and they just were the better team.
Yeah.
I mean, now Illinois is 2-4. Do you have their schedule in front of you?
I do.
Let's see what.
Let's see. So they just had Nebraska at home.
I think it's tough what they have coming up.
Okay, at Maryland.
They're going to lose
tough.
that.
Wisconsin at home. So
they could pull up an upset, but that'll be tough. From what I saw last night, though, it'll be hard unless Wisconsin's not very good.
Yeah, that's right. Then bye week at Minnesota. Could be. The
team I saw last night's probably not going to win at Minnesota.
Probably not. Indiana at home. They could win that. At Iowa.
I think Iowa will.
I would think so.
Barring any more injuries or unforeseen story developments, to me, Iowa's better than Illinois this year.
And then they host Northwestern for
so
their last game.
I guess the schedule's not quite as tough as I thought.
But neither are they. So, I mean, they're nothing near as good as they were last year.
No, but if you're an Illinois fan, and if that was you'd be looking and seeing, we could get maybe 5-6 wins out of this season if we just don't. I mean, Northwestern at home, that's a winnable game for them.
Oh, for sure. Indiana at
home, so there's 4 wins right there.
At Minnesota is winnable.
I mean, there's winnable games. Iowa is winnable, but I think Iowa is one of their less winnable games from what. At Maryland's probably the least winnable of their game. I thought they still had to play Ohio State, but I was wrong on that. So,
no.
But no, it wasn't a very fun game to watch. A lot of empty seats. Ton of empty seats.
Well, especially all the upper decks were
I don't know if that's the Friday night
ghost towns.
Impact or what have you, but there were just a lot of
And I think the weather was probably similar to what it was
It was
here.
probably cold.
Yeah,
it looked cold, but still not cold enough to where if that's an Iowa game on a Friday night,
it'd be pretty full.
It'd be pretty full, I would think. So, but yeah, I watched that as much as I could, but I got bored.
So Peacock's got a couple games today at 11 a.m. Rutgers at Wisconsin.
I'm going to watch
Now, that could be interesting.
Well, to me, you learn a lot about both teams. If Rutgers comes in there and they're in it to the very end, then you say to yourself, Rutgers is okay this year. They're for real. And Wisconsin is somewhat compromised compared to previous Wisconsin teams. Now, if Rutgers goes in there and loses 28-7, then okay, typical Rutgers, they're just not there yet. And Wisconsin's formidable. That's kind of how I look at this game.
Well, let's cross our fingers, and maybe Rutgers can somehow...
Well, yeah. I mean, from
Iowa's
standpoint, you'd love to see Rutgers win.
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't seen Rutgers, and I saw them playing Michigan a little bit because that was our thing at Wild Rose. And I got to see over your shoulder, Rutgers.
And that game was competitive until late in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it was 10-10 at halftime. And Rutgers held its own in the interior, which I thought was somewhat encouraging if you're a Rutgers fan, but eventually Michigan just wore them down.
Mm-hmm. Howard at Northwestern, don't care. Purdue.
That is another win for Northwestern.
You would think so.
I mean, that will be 3 wins for Northwestern. For a while, after I saw them in that season opener, I didn't think Northwestern would maybe win 2 games this year. But that should be, if they lose today, that's not good. They should win that. That would make them 3-3. Then what's after that for them?
They have a bye week. Then at Nebraska.
I would pick Nebraska. I'm probably.
Really?
I think we have a visitor.
We do.
Let me take care of that.
All right, you take care of that, Jim. And then Northwestern hosts Maryland and Iowa back-to-back.
My guess is
probably 2 losses.
Probably.
I mean, there's no sure things.
Oh no, I mean Iowa could lose to anybody in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and beat any of them.
Not Ohio State, Michigan, or.
Well, fortunately, we don't have to play.
No,
them
but I'm just saying. Well,
yes.
but I don't think this year I guess they could, but the Penn State game, they didn't fire a shot. I mean,
no,
they were completely outclassed in that game.
And then after the 2 home, and then they're at Wisconsin, then they host Purdue, and then at Illinois. So, and Northwestern could roll up a few, and $130 million lawsuit Fitz filed against the U. So that's going to be interesting.
That could drag out for a while too.
Okay, now Minnesota has not looked good.
No.
But Michigan at Minnesota, I suppose it could be a game.
Is that today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because I didn't pick that as one of our picks. When I do our 5 picks for games, I did screw up. I should have had either Oklahoma, Texas, or I should have had Kentucky at Georgia. I think Georgia's going to win that game.
Yes.
But I try to put games that are – like I put Nebraska, Illinois on our picks because I thought that was going to be a competitive game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get games that it's hard to pick a winner. I put TCU at Iowa State because I think that's going to be a close game.
I do too.
I think I can't remember.
The same TCU from last year.
No, it's not, but Iowa State's not very good either.
No, they're not.
So I think I may have picked TCU to win because my comment – a lot of times I make my pick if I can't figure it based on whatever snarky, petty comment I can make. So my comment was Matt Campbell should have done what Steve Miller said and taken the money and run because you don't hear his name for anything anymore. And if they end up this year 4-8, 5-7, which they've – I'm not saying he's coaching for his job next year, but the Heat's going to start building. That'll be 3 bad years in a row. And a lot of coaches don't get 3. But he did so much early at Iowa State that was good. I think he's built so much.
I think so,
and
too.
it's Iowa State. I mean, look at their tradition.
It's Iowa State, and 3 bad years in a row at Iowa State is business as usual.
That's 3, yeah. I mean, yeah. So, but eventually, even Dan McCarney was eventually kind of hit his limit. He's going to have to start winning again at some point.
I sort of thought that Danny Mack got screwed.
I thought he did too. They were struggling there, but I think they should have stuck with him a little while longer because he was the one that made the breakthrough.
Yeah.
He beat Iowa. He had winning seasons, and they were struggling, though, under him at the end. But sure. I thought they should have given him some more time. And maybe they learned from that with Campbell. But like you said, if Iowa State finishes with a losing record this year, that's 3 bad years in a row.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, okay, if let's say they go 5-7 or 4-8 this year, and then next year they go like 3-9 or 4, I think he's gone. I think Matt Campbell would only probably get 4 years of underachieving in this day and age. You can't go much longer than that with all the pressure to win and the money involved and what have you. So we'll see. These are big games. This is a huge game for Iowa State today. If they want to have a winning record, 7-5 or whatever, games like this are the ones
they have to win it. Probably.
Yeah, they're going to have to win this game. So
what are they sitting at? 2-3?
I think they're 2-3. And to give up 50 points, I know Oklahoma's good, but still, 50 points.
That's a lot.
That was a lot of points to give up. Their defense really didn't show.
So there's so many teams that are 2-3 in there, and most of them, some of those teams are going to end up with winning records, but for the most part, your teams that are 2-3 right now have probably got some issues happening.
Well, yeah.
Is that fair?
That's what 2-3 says, yes.
Yeah.
And Iowa has issues, but yet Iowa's 4-1.
Yeah.
And because they're so good on defense and
schedule,
of course, and Torrey Taylor and Drew Stevens have been huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they are such big fan. Their decision to get Drew Stevens that's where you got to give LeVar Woods and that special team staff that. He was right down there in the South. A lot of schools passed up on him. Iowa didn't, and now Iowa is reaping the benefits because he is a really, really good kicker.
He sure is, and thank God.
Yeah, because they need him.
Yeah, they do.
They definitely do.
So last year Iowa was able to roll up yardage on the ground against Purdue.
No. Yeah, Caleb Johnson had 200 yards rushing, 2 long runs. So, but
It's a different.
It's a lot of the same players, but it's a completely different defensive scheme, different defensive emphasis. So to me, that's apples and oranges.
Yeah. So, I mean, is Iowa going to just try to pound the ball?
Well, I wrote today. I mean, do you realize that since 2004, 10 times Iowa's finished 10th or lower in the Big Ten in rushing? Think about that.
That's hard to believe.
To me,
really,
to me, that's the most of all the other stats: the touchdown passes, the points, and all the 9-3 games, and all the Brian Ferentz crap. The most telling stat about Iowa football right now offensively is that, because that's long term. I mean,
and that's under
like what I wrote.
Three offensive coordinators.
My lead was, you can blame Brian Ferentz all you want. You can question his play calling, but the thing that's hurting Iowa football offense more than anything is the inability to sustain a running game. And only 4 times since 2008 has Iowa averaged 150 yards a game. Think about that.
Astounding.
But the 10 times finishing 10th or lower in the conference, that to me is the most telling stat, because that covers a lot of territory. I mean, that's almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2009 team that everyone talks about, oh, I've had people say, well, Pat, what about that 2009 team, Adam Robinson? And that team averaged 114 rushing yards a game.
And that was so close to being just as special as a team
gets. It was.
Almost ran the table in the Big Ten if Ricky hadn't gotten injured.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But they could not run the ball very well.
No.
And that's, to me, this is what's holding back Iowa football offense more than anything else. Because a lot of the problems that are occurring now under Brian Ferentz have occurred under all 3 coordinators. They've just, I think, been magnified under Brian because statistically they're a little worse, and because he's Kirk's son.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
Oh, sure it is.
And because we're deeper into Kirk's run, too. So the deeper you go into a head coach's run, I think people are more impatient and what have you. But right now, yeah, but no, this running, these issues with the running game have festered for years. And I don't know why, because I still wrote in my column, Kirk Ferentz knows more about run blocking, running schemes than almost anybody with everything he's done, and yet it's still not working.
And yet it doesn't
work.
No.
We got a phone call.
Okay.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning. Hey, I got a quick question. What do you think explains the difference in success between linemen when they're at Iowa versus when some of them go to the pros? Is it different schemes? Is there more emphasis on pass blocking at the pro level?
Are you talking about offensive linemen?
Yeah.
Well, most of the ones that go to the ones that go to the pros and are good in the pros were also really good at Iowa individually. Like I wrote, one of the weird things about Iowa's offensive line is the individual parts are usually way better than the whole product.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't figure that out.
And individually, they were really good at run blocking while in college too.
Well, they must have been.
Probably.
Because 2 of them won the Outland Trophy, and Tyler Linderbaum was a finalist for the Outland Trophy. Was the consensus All-American.
We had 3 pro linemen.
2019, Alaric Jackson, Tristan Wirfs, and Tyler Linderbaum started for Iowa. All 3 of them now start in the NFL. 2 of them at left tackle. They all made All Big Ten. They all made All American, and yet that team didn't. I don't think that team.
They didn't run the ball.
They didn't run the ball very well. I can't figure it out.
That's what I can't figure out either. They obviously, well, not obviously, but they struggled to run the ball with 3 pro starters.
And yet those guys must have.
They get to the pros, those teams can run the ball.
Well,
can't they?
A little bit. The Rams have had. I mean, it's not like Alaric Jackson's just kicking ass in the pro. He's doing okay, but
Right.
but they must have done. I don't vote on any of these awards right now, but they must have done okay because they all made individually. They were all very highly honored. I mean, Alaric Jackson made some All-America teams. He was a 4-year starter at left tackle for Iowa. I don't know. That's the biggest mystery, why the individual parts are usually better than the whole. I mean,
it's usually the other way around.
Marshall, usually that's what you want. That's what you hope. But at Iowa, it's not been that way. I mean, Marshall Yonda, 2006, he was, very. I mean, he made All Big Ten, but that team went 6-7 and didn't run the ball very well. And it's a mystery. I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the
Well, and it's
thank you.
At least so far, it's unfolding that way again here this year. Our pass blocking is at least decent.
It's okay, but they don't have any first-team All Big Ten linemen. No one, probably. I don't know if they have any second.
But we're not going to be able to run the ball very well this year, at least so far.
But I mean, over the years, they've had a lot of celebrated linemen, and Brandon Scherf won the Outland Trophy in 2014. That wasn't a great running team.
Riley Reef. I
mean, he still played in the NFL.
Brian Bulaga.
He was on that 2009 team, and he was an All-American and everything. And I know he's been on Twitter kind of arguing with Iowa fans, and I get it. He's sticking up for his coach, and he's sticking up for his program. I get it. I don't know if he's going to accomplish much other than just getting more frustrated.
Well, it's Twitter.
He's fighting against people hiding behind aliases on Twitter who would probably pee their pants if they stood in front of Brian Bulaga. But on Twitter, they're tough guys, and they'll say what they want. But even that 2009 team, that was Bulaga's last year, I believe, at Iowa, and he was an All-American, All-Big Ten. That team averaged 114 yards rushing a game. But it didn't stop Brian Bulaga from being celebrated and highly decorated.
This is the week it all changes. It all turns around.
Okay, so what's going to happen offensively?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a slugfest today, a slogfest.
I think all the rest of their games are going to be that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. On a separate note, I live up by Minneapolis, and PJ's starting to take some heat up here. That, at the end of this many years, he just can't, he can't get over the hump, really.
I'm surprised, though, because who's the last Minnesota coach to do better than PJ?
I mean, he's gotten to Glenn Mason.
He's Glenn Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. But, and it's mainly Scroggins on the Trib that's kind of fueling the fames. But I hear it on the radio, too. The people are just like, why can't we have more progress after all these years? Why do we still have, we lose all these games we should never lose?
What did they finish last year? Do you remember? Were they 9-4 last year?
Yes.
And then didn't 2 years ago, didn't they win 11 games?
Yes.
I'm not doubting what you're saying. I'm just surprised that they're that impatient. But
because
I wonder,
they're fans.
They're fans.
He hasn't won the West.
Well, yeah, and he hasn't beaten Iowa. But I wonder too, though, is because they're also Vikings fans too, though, and they've got other things to. I mean, not like the Vikings are playing very well either. But I don't know. That's interesting.
Although the Twins are doing it.
That's
this
interesting.
Year.
PJ's got a lot more competition for entertainment than Kirk does down here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's part of it too.
You drive by a game down there, and they have a beautiful stadium.
Oh, they do. I love it. I think it's really
right
nice.
On campus.
Yeah,
I love it.
But at the end of the third quarter, it empties out.
Yeah, it does.
No matter what the score is, because people want to go party or whatever. It's just interesting.
Yeah, this team.
It's not like Iowa basketball.
This team seems lost without a running game because they fed off their running game years in and year out, and they just don't seem to have it this year. So we'll see. That's interesting, though, to find out that he's under the heat.
They don't have the offensive
No,
line.
they don't.
They've got another good running back, but the line's just not.
Well, one of their best
Anyway,
running backs. I mean, that one guy's the third teamer at Penn State now. What's his name? Tyler Potts.
Potts.
Yeah, Trey Potts. Yeah.
He could be Trey Potts. He could be starting at Minnesota, and he's third team at Penn State.
Yeah.
That's an interesting transfer, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. But no, thanks for sharing that. I was not aware that the heat was starting to build up in Minneapolis.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Bye.
I mean, PJ's done a good job there. I mean, there's just
yes, I agree. I mean, they ran Glenn Mason out, and they kind of regretted that afterwards. I mean, but that's interesting to see because I think PJ probably maybe could have cashed in on his success and taken another job, but he stuck with him. So we'll see. I mean, if they go 4-8 this year, does he deserve to be fired? No. God, no way.
No.
And I don't know about the writer from the Tribune. I don't. To me, though, I mean,
is he just the new Sid Hartman?
I don't know if. Sid Hartman was just nothing but a homer. I mean, he
could.
I remember
rip you apart too, though.
But he rarely ripped apart the. It was always the opposition. I remember when Ben Sobieski and that linebacker Mike Dolezal committed to Iowa toward the end of Hayden's run, and Sid wrote this column and just ripped him. Why would you not stay home and be loyal to? And I remember thinking, why would you write that? Why would you question where a kid's going to school? I didn't get that. But,
guys, our visitor is from Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah, he listens to our podcast, and he's in town doing a thing for the university.
Oh, cool.
So he just wanted to stop by and say hello, and he's just sitting in listening.
Well, hello.
Well, welcome.
His name's Joe.
Welcome, Joe.
So that's, I know you were kind of looking like, what's going on over there? What's that guy doing sitting on the floor?
Well, I figured you had the situation well in hand.
Yes, yes. He called earlier this morning and said, hey, I listen to the podcast all the time, and I got some time before I got to do stuff today. Can I stop by and say hello? And I'm like,
great.
Well, what am I supposed to say?
No, I did see Pete Thamel tweeted Minnesota tailback Darius Taylor. I didn't realize the Big Ten's leading rusher is expected to be a game-time decision against Michigan State. He missed last week's win over Louisiana and has been limited in practice. So he's their leading rusher. He's played in 4 games. I mean, but their running game is still nothing like it has been in the past.
No.
And there isn't a lot of big-time running backs in the Big Ten game. They're like the Chase Brown, I'm not even sure how many yards is leading the Big Ten in rushing. I haven't seen the.
So the Minnesota guy's leading.
According to Pete Thamel, Darius Taylor is the Big Ten's leading rusher, but that's in 4 games.
Even more than Blake Corum?
Well, Blake Corum shares a lot with Donovan
that's
Edwards, and
true.
there's they got another running back, Mullings.
That is true.
He's a converted linebacker who I've seen him playing a lot recently. So those guys kind of take yards away from each other. But I do remember seeing the game I watched Darius Taylor play, he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I don't think, and right now it's such a small body. I mean, there's such a small sampling. So he didn't play in their last game, which means he's played in 4 games at the most. That's an encouraging sign, though, if they can start to get their running game going. But Minnesota usually has 2 or 3 running backs that they feed off of, and they're just not running the ball like they have in the past.
No.
But that's a pretty high bar they've set in the past.
It is.
I mean, their running game now compared to Iowa's is night and day. I mean, Iowa's averaging 107 yards rushing a game.
That's kind of been Minnesota's trademark for a lot of years.
Oh, they've been a much better running team.
Oh,
than
my
Iowa.
God,
It's not
yes.
even. It's not. Hell, remember Lawrence Maroney and Marion Barber?
Oh, my God, those
teams were great.
They sure were.
At running the ball. They had some. That was Glenn Mason, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, Glenn Mason won 9 games. He won 8 games. He won 8 games again. But then
He's
done
top.
what PJ did.
Yes.
I mean, Minnesota hasn't been over the top since Bobby Bill played there in the early 60s.
Well, no, and and before that they were, had a number of national championships.
But we're talking back when It's a Wonderful Life came out, right? Like 30s,
yes,
40s.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the coach's name? Bernie Bauman. Was that the head?
Bernie Bierman.
Was that the head football coach?
He was one of them, and then later on, I'm trying to think of who some of their coaches.
But they were the last time they were really good. I remember Bobby Bill. Remember he played linebacker and he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Wasn't that like the early 60s?
They had a great team. I think it was 1960. It was Sandy Stevens was their quarterback.
Yeah, because wasn't there a game between Iowa and where they had
Wilburn
two
Hollis, yes.
black quarterbacks? It was unprecedented. Yeah.
Yes, and Sandy Stevens got the best of them, and I think Minnesota finished as the number 1 team.
They used to be Nebraska prior to Nebraska. But yeah, it's a long time ago. But they just have not been able to get over the hump. There was thoughts that Lou Holtz was going to take them there. But they made.
Well, he may have.
They made the mistake of hiring Lou Holtz, knowing what he had, the clause in his contract, that if Notre Dame comes calling, he's gone. They took a chance and it backfired. I think Lou Holtz would have won it.
Oh,
I think he would have won it, Minnesota.
I do too.
I think he's a nutbag now and a blabbering just idiot.
Well, I think he was probably a nutbag then.
Well,
too, but he was
some
a
of
good
the
coach.
Some of the stuff now he says is just ridiculous. But no, he was a good coach. He won Notre Dame their last national title. I mean, Notre Dame, they won it in 88. I think the one prior to that was 77. So Notre Dame's won 2 national titles. 77, what's that? Notre Dame's won 2 national titles in the last 46 years.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 more than Iowa's got.
Well, yeah. But Iowa's not held in the same regard as Notre Dame. It's not even close.
No.
Sometimes, and I'm saying this as a Notre Dame fan, Notre Dame's kind of overrated at times. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
I think they always get the benefit of the doubt, and I think the bigwigs in college football always want Notre Dame to be good because that leads to more revenue, and that's what it's all about.
And more clicks.
And, all that stuff.
Well, in all fairness, Notre Dame has had some really good teams, and they are, even when they're down, they're still very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame had they had a stretch there where they finished 3-9 one year. Charlie Weiss, that was a disaster.
Yeah.
Bob Davie was not good. Tyrone Willing. They had a stretch where they were really searching. I know my dad got frustrated. They just could not figure things out. At Brian Kelly, Brian Kelly, I'll give him credit. I don't like the guy, but he did lift them back up. Now, they were anytime they got up against an Ohio State or Alabama, they just couldn't do it. They're really good. They're just not elite. It's been a long, and I say the same thing about this year's team.
Yeah.
I don't see this year's team beating Georgia or Alabama, but we'll see.
No, I don't either.
But we'll see.
Who knows? It'd be nice, since Kirk has been here, Iowa would have been in the discussion for the playoffs several times, especially with the 12 team.
Format, yeah, about 3 or 4 times.
And hopefully he can get us there again.
Yeah, that's the goal. Well, win a Big Ten championship. I think Kirk would like to match Hayden with 3 Big Ten titles.
Yeah.
He still has yet to do that, and he's coached 5 years longer at Iowa than Hayden has now. Can you believe that?
God, that's unbelievable.
Hayden was there for 20 years. Kirk's in year 25. Hayden won 3 in 20.
So 2 coaches in 45 years. That's just incredible.
It is incredible. And now there are some fans out there, yeah, that's great, but I would like something
Let's move
new.
on.
There's
sure.
more and more people saying that.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's anything personal against Kirk. They just want something different.
Well, they don't want the worst offense in the country. And fair enough.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that. But they also don't want to be 2-3 with a better offense.
No, that's true, too.
They'd rather be 4-1 with a crappy offense. So, you can kind of put it any way you want. But, it is what it is. And I've written what I wrote yesterday, I've written before. I just don't get the running game. I don't get why they are so bad at running the football.
Brian Ferentz was a good offensive line coach.
From what I've heard, he was okay.
From what we hear.
Yeah, he was okay.
Kirk was considered an offensive line guru.
9 years at Iowa, 6 in the NFL. 15 years of just coaching offensive line. George Barnett, Kirk says, is unbelievable. Great.
Yet we have one of the worst running attacks in America.
Yes. And I don't think the offensive line may be a little better at pass blocking. Their run blocking hasn't improved at all.
No, it hasn't.
It may be even worse. There's been hardly any running lanes. When you give these backs a lane, look what Jazion Patterson did with that one little hole he got. Yeah, these backs can do. Look, LaShawn Williams had 145 yards rushing against Western Michigan, a long touchdown run. Why? Because there was room to run.
Yes.
But more times than not, there's not room to run. What I liked about LaShawn Williams, though, when I talked to him, everything was about what he could do to fix the offense, not what others need to do. It was a very impressive answer. And he said, he goes, man, I could make a few more guys miss. I could run downhill. But everything is about what he could do. And that's how you fix a problem. Yeah. And no finger pointing. And that was a pretty encouraging answer. I think they do have a good culture right now. And I think when you're 4-1, your culture is a big reason why you can overcome a crappy offense. And it helps to have a good defense and the best punter-kicker combination in the country. We keep going back to that.
Yeah,
Torrey Taylor, he's their MVP right now. If you were to pick a mid-season MVP, to me, it's Torrey Taylor, and it's not even close. Who else would you
consider? Jay Higgins?
Jay Higgins would probably be one of the 2 or 3 other considerations. Cooper DeJean. But it would be Torrey. For me, it'd be Torrey Taylor, hands down. Not even close. I would think so. Not even close.
That could change before the season's over.
It could, but it probably won't.
Probably won't.
The guy flips. His ability to flip the field is just unbelievable.
With as bad as our offense is, there's a strange little narrative out there, too, that if all Iowa had done against Penn State was punt instead of trying to run plays, they would have been better than...
Well, I've joked in the press box, hey, do you think Iowa will ever think about punting on 2nd or 3rd down just to get it over with sooner? But if it comes to that, then you got serious problems.
Serious problems.
So, but we joke because we care.
Well, we do care.
What time you start? Are you going right over from here to tailgating?
No, we got to get some chicken noodle soup to Steve and Jan. Ann's working on making our contribution to the tailgate now.
What are you contributing?
They're bacon roll-ups.
Okay.
And they're real freaking good.
What's inside them?
Cream cheese, bacon, tortillas.
I could do without the cream cheese, but if there's enough bacon to overwhelm the cream cheese, then
they're real good.
I'm just not a cream cheese fan.
I like cream cheese.
I am a big cream cheese fan. Actually, I saw a recipe for chicken taquitos on online, and I'm going to try them sometime next week.
But do they have cream cheese in them?
Yeah.
Ugh.
What about chili Crispitos?
No, they don't have cream cheese in them. I don't like any type of
Kentucky chicken, or
I don't like any type of sauce or something that's white.
Yeah.
I'm a racist.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
enough.
You
That's
are.
right. Mayonnaise, no.
At least you recognize.
Everybody
Sour
likes what
cream,
they
no.
like.
Cream cheese, no.
I hate sour cream.
And I can eat like a chive and onion cream cheese. I can put a little bit of that on a bagel.
Not me.
That's about it. But Alfredo sauce, oh God, that is just sickening.
I'd rather have spaghetti sauce, but I will eat Alfredo sauce.
Me too.
I've had Alfredo sauce one time, and it was like eating freaking paste. It was
Hello?
just gross.
Hello.
Hey,
They're BLT roll-ups.
Ooh, now
That sounds better.
that sounds better.
sounds better
course
than
it
bacon
is.
roll up.
They're delicious, and I'm sorry you don't like cream cheese and sour cream, but I do. So there.
And I won't be eating them. So
And a good Alfredo sauce should not taste like paste.
That's true.
well,
Also
this
true.
did, and this was at a very fancy Italian restaurant, and it still sucked.
Can't judge a book by its cover.
Well, I was told, I had never had fettuccine Alfredo before, and Pat Murray said, I'm going to make you guys some fettuccine Alfredo. And I said, what's that? And she said, it is really good macaroni and cheese.
No way.
And Tom said, I'm in.
I am in.
I love macaroni and cheese.
And I was in, and I am in.
There
It
you
is
go.
good. Yeah, but they're kind of a pain in the patoot, so I don't make them very often. But all roll-ups, and I'm poor at rolling, so they're always a little sloppy looking. But they taste good.
Oh,
so
they're
that's
delicious.
That's okay.
Well, it sounds
All
like you
right,
got enough in there to offset the sour cream for me.
Cream cheese.
Or cream. I thought you said sour cream too.
And well, that's in the dip that I make that you also turn your nose up at. And the tomatoes came from our garden.
Oh,
Nice.
isn't that special?
So, well,
Yum.
it's better and better and better. Anyway, I'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. I had a BLT for dinner last night. It was delicious.
Yum. At home,
Yes,
With mayonnaise on it?
of course.
Yeah, see, I don't put mayonnaise on my BLTs.
I put butter on
I put a
mine.
little bit of butter just to lubricate the bun.
Or never mind. Hello.
Hey, Tom, are you still at the same tailgate spot then?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is Dirk. My wife and I might ride our bikes over and tailgate crash you a little bit. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely do.
Good day to do it.
So, yep, we park our bikes over by Mercy Hospital, or park our cars at Mercy Hospital and ride our bikes around tailgate hop. So we got to be at our daughter at the dental building, and beautiful day, like you said. So
Oh, brilliant.
All right, well, have fun. Safe
Well,
travels.
hopefully we'll see you guys.
Okay, sounds good. And I'll just throw this out there: over and under 77 yards of rushing.
That's a tough one.
I'll go over.
I'll go a little over.
What'd you say, Tom?
over.
Okay, I'll say under just to
Okay.
Okay.
Would I be
Hey.
stunned if they went under? No.
Not at all.
Not at all. I mean, they've shown that they cannot run on them just about anybody in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you guys later.
Okay.
Dog.
All right. See ya.
Dog's trying to call me now, of all things.
And Purdue's win over Illinois doesn't. I mean, it was still impressive. Don't get me wrong.
It was.
But Illinois is not very good.
No.
And it was at Purdue. So, but I mean, Purdue. I mean, could Iowa beat Illinois 44-19 right now?
Iowa can't beat anybody 44-19.
So, like I said, yeah, Iowa.
you
and
say
like
that now.
you've been saying Iowa, and they never would. No Big Ten game for Iowa is going to probably come easy.
No. I mean, Kirk has a way of finding a way to win, and that's been his claim to fame since he got here.
Yeah, but now last year they did lose 5 games last year.
I know.
And Iowa fans right now, 5 losses. That's not acceptable to Iowa fans 25 years into this run.
Well, certainly not with this schedule.
With the schedule, well, and even next year, they're not with that schedule. They're not going to have. Fans aren't going to be happy going 7-5, even with that schedule, because you can only use that schedule as an excuse for so long. I mean, okay, so what? We're just going to aspire to be 6-6 and 7-5 in this new tough world. That's not going to fly with fans. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It is going to be, yeah.
Because if they go much better than 7-5 next year, I will be surprised with that schedule they have.
Pleasantly.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, McNamara will be back. Well, McNamara's barely played in 2 years now.
Well, yeah.
And he wasn't very good this year.
No, he wasn't.
And I know he was hurt, but he wasn't hurt enough not to play. So I'm still going to just reserve.
Was not good.
I'm just going to reserve judgment on that until I see more.
Yeah.
So, but no, I do. I've got Iowa winning a close game today. Now, last year I had Iowa losing at Purdue, and they went out and beat their ass.
24-3?
24-3. Caleb ran for 200. That game never really was in doubt. Charlie Jones couldn't do anything. That was their best game of the year last year.
And Aiden O'Connell kind of struggled against
they had 3 points.
Yeah.
And Caleb Johnson had huge running lanes and made the most of them. And I just remember watching that game in West Lafayette. I'm like, God, this is stunning. I never expected that. Maybe we'll see something like that today.
Well, I hope so.
If that happens today, it's Iowa administering the beatdown. I'd be stunned if Purdue came in here and beat Iowa by 2 or 3 times. I don't see that happening.
No.
I just don't think that's possible.
If it does, I
then
don't want to go to Madison.
Let's take one last call.
Yeah,
here.
we sure.
Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
Hey, back to Billy. As I told you before, I work with him at Vegas for Kessler's Pizza.
Yeah. Pies, yeah.
Yeah, he loved his music, and he had a lot of girlfriends.
He had some. Yes, he did.
And I could tell you a lot more stories. I was only out there 6 months.
Family show.
Oh, yeah.
I am sure that you could.
Hey, yeah. You guys take care, and let's get a W.
All right, sounds good, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, everybody, for listening. Molly Scooter is next with your favorite hits, and go Hawkeye.